Teruskan dengan sesi interaktif Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri bersama Diaspora dan pelajar-pelajar Malaysia di New York, Amerika Syarikat. Dipersilakan Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim dan Moderator Encik Zi Kion Fu ke atas pentas bagi meneruskan agenda seterusnya.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Malam ini kita santai, tak ada protokol. Jadi saya nak minta sebelum saya berucap, Saudara Zamri bagi penerangan sedikit, kemudian Saudara Saifuddin, Menteri Dalam Negeri, kemudian mana lagi? Tengku Zafrul, jangan dia lari cepat, biar dia berucap sedikit. Kemudian Dr. Zaleha. Kalau tak dia makan free, saya buat kerja seorang. So let us make sure that we give them some latitude to express and explain what they are doing, why they should remain as ministers. Okay, thank you.
Dipersilakan Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Diraja Dr. Zamri Abdul Kadir, Menteri Luar Negeri untuk memberikan ucapan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, selamat malam. Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Datin Seri. So, you know, normally you don't speak in front of your boss. So you must be careful whatever you want to say. So pertama sekali saya ucapkan terima kasih atas kesempatan ini yang mana sepanjang beberapa hari ini tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian, saudara-saudari menyaksikan tentang satu program yang besar yang kita berada di sini dan sama-sama kita saksikan pembentangan oleh Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri kita di persidangan Pertubuhan Bangsa-Bangsa Bersatu, dan selain daripada itu juga Yang Amat Berhormat turut mengadakan beberapa pertemuan penting, termasuk berjumpa dengan semua rakan-rakan media dan sebagainya. Dan ini merupakan satu kesempatan yang sangat penting untuk kita tunjukkan negara kita. It is very important for us to introduce our country to the world. And we have our Prime Minister. And this is the opportunity for us also to tell the world about our country, our Malaysia Madani, and also our Prime Minister. Jadi tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian, saya tidak perlu untuk bercakap panjang. The most important thing for us is to introduce our foreign policy, and Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri has been introducing our foreign policy for the last few days in New York. In his conversation with several organizations, with several members, several societies, councils for foreign policies, and the rest. Jadi itu saja yang saya nak sampaikan. Terima kasih banyak-banyak atas kesempatan ini. Yang amat berhormat, kita bersama-sama dengan beliau sebagai satu tim untuk memastikan supaya Malaysia dapat berada di persada antarabangsa sekali lagi. Thank you very much. Thank you. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Diraja Dr. Zamri Abdul Kadir, Menteri Luar Negeri, di atas ucapan tersebut. Seterusnya dipersilakan Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail, Menteri Dalam Negeri, untuk memberikan ucapan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat petang. Dr. Sianwar, Perdana Menteri, kawan, rakan-rakan yang dimuliakan, nama saya Saifuddin Nasution Ismail. Saya orang Kedah, isteri orang Kelantan. Walaupun Nasution tapi IC biru. Ya. Saya lahirkan rasa syukur dan gembira dapat hadir hari ini. Saya pelajar pengucapan awam. Guru saya pesan, kalau datang satu majlis dan tak dijadualkan berucap, tiba-tiba dijemput, tolong elak, jangan sekali-kali naik dan berucap. Tapi hari ini saya langgar pantang sikit. Kementerian Dalam Negeri, satu daripada kementerian yang tugas hakikinya ialah menjaga keamanan dan ketenteraman awam. Ada 11 agensi, ada 53 akta. Dari segi bajet, yang ketiga terbesar selepas kesihatan dan pendidikan. Hari ini saya gembira dapat jumpa sebahagiannya telah pun datang ke pejabat saya. Waktu itu mencadangkan supaya saya bawa ke sini Jabatan Pendaftaran Negara dan Jabatan Immigration khusus untuk menyelesaikan masalah komuniti ataupun masyarakat Malaysia di sini. Saya nak beritahu, saya telah bincang dengan Perdana Menteri. Dan arahan pertama Perdana Menteri untuk kami selesaikan dulu untuk masyarakat Malaysia, rakyat Malaysia yang sekarang tinggal di Saudi. Kemudian insya-Allah kita akan usaha sehingga sampai juga di sini. Ini antara mesej awal yang diminta oleh duta kita, sahabat saya Datuk Nazri, sebahagian daripada persatuan dan komuniti yang datang, dan saya nak beri jaminan hal itu telah saya bincangkan dengan Perdana Menteri. Cuma untuk tahun ini dengan peruntukan sebesar tak banyak 1,5 juta, tugas saya adalah untuk menyelesaikan hampir 800 atau 900 rakyat Malaysia yang lama tinggal di Saudi tapi tak ada dokumen pengenalan diri. Next, Datuk Nazri, doa murah rezeki, kita akan sampai juga di Amerika. Itu yang pertama. Saya tahu itu antara persoalan yang banyak masuk dalam mesej saya. Menjangkakan saya datang malam ini, tolong respon. Jadi saya preempt awal lagi. Lepas ni tak ada soal jawab dah. Jadi beberapa perkara lain saya percaya akan sentiasa menerima dukungan. Makluman Datuk Seri, MC ini adalah attaché immigration kita, Nalini. Dan walaupun namanya Nalini, tapi bahasa pertuturan seisi keluarganya di Batu Kurau, Perak, bahasa Melayu. Bukan sahaja bahasa Melayu, pergi tadika Islam, pasal dekat dengan rumah. Jadi walaupun saya bertugas Putrajaya, saya kenal staf saya sampai di New York. Nak bagi tahu yang tu aja. Ya. Bahasa Melayunya cemerlang. Terima kasih banyak. Hari ini itu sebahagian sumbangan kecil KDN melalui Jabatan Immigration dalam majlis malam ini. Sekian. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So, a very good evening, everyone. This is the moment that everyone is waiting for, trying to get some words of wisdom from our Prime Minister. So, instead of actually going into his I would say, Tunku Zafru. So, yes.
Menteri Kesihatan pun ada lagi. Menteri Kesihatan ada? Ya. Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Man Azizah, Chief Ambassador. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Apa khabar semua? Terima kasih. Yang Berhormat, don't worry. Ucapan saya lebih pendek daripada ucapan kedua menteri yang sebelum ni. Because I know everybody here wants to listen to our Honourable Prime Minister. So I will keep it short. Yeah. But definitely the content is better. First of all, let me share with all of you, especially yang tak tahu, this is Kementerian Perdagangan, Pelaburan dan Industri, or Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry. We are here in New York to promote Malaysia as an investment destination. We want people here to know that we are pro-business, we are pro-investment, and we are pro-trade. And my job is easy. Job saya senang kerana semua mesyuarat yang kita pergi, all the meetings that we've gone to, we got our Prime Minister to talk. Yeah, we present, he market Malaysia, and I just have to follow up. Yeah. So I would like to say thank you, Yang Berhormat, for taking the time to meet our investors, our corporates, our fund managers. And I hope all of you in this room will also continue to promote Malaysia. Yeah. Tadi Yang Berhormat, saya jumpa ramai student di sini. Most of them and they are very proud to be here today. And they told me they are very proud to hear, sampai 10 jam pun ada. Yeah, so itu je lah ucapan daripada saya. I'll be going down to talk to you more. Yeah, I hope Datuk Sri Zamri pun mingle lah kat belakang tu, jangan duduk je atas meja ni. Yeah. So Yang Berhormat, I'll pass the mic back to the moderator. Thank you.
Baik, terima kasih diucapkan kepada Menteri Pelaburan, Perdagangan dan Industri.
So, we would like to hear from our Health Minister, Dr. SAHIH.
Silakan Dr. Zalia Mustafa.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Apa khabar semua? Alhamdulillah. So, Menteri Kesihatan ni, I think menteri yang paling susah lah kerjanya agaknya kan. So, Alhamdulillah, pada hari ini saya terima kasih pertamanya kepada Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim kerana telah memberi peluang kepada saya untuk bersama-sama dalam delegasi ke United Nations. Satu pengalaman yang sangat berguna dan sangat besarlah kepada saya, orang baru ya sebagai menteri. Saya ni bila Datuk Seri Anwar telefon pada hari kemenangan kami semasa pilihan raya yang lepas, saya tahu saya nak jadi menteri hanya 15 minit sebelum Datuk Seri Anwar membuat pengumuman. Ya. Jadi itu satu kejutan, tapi saya ambil itu sebagai satu cabaran dan insya-Allah saya rasa banyak pengalaman yang kita kena belajar sebagai orang baru, tetapi alhamdulillah dalam perjalanan hampir 10 bulan ini banyak perkara yang kita lihat dan saya sendiri melihat banyak perubahan sebenarnya yang kita nampak dalam Kementerian Kesihatan. Itu bagi saya lah. Tadi tapi pandangan orang lain saya tak tahu. Walaupun hari-hari kena hentam sebenarnya sebagai Menteri Kesihatan. Tapi tak apa. Apa yang kita lakukan dalam Kementerian Kesihatan, perkara yang agak besar juga yang kita baru-baru ini telah luluskan dalam Parlimen. Pertama kali dalam Parlimen ialah kita meluluskan kertas putih kesihatan. Jadi ini adalah satu plan reformasi untuk kesihatan ini selama 15 tahun. Kita akan laksanakan perubahan dalam perkhidmatan kesihatan kita. Jadi dalam perkhidmatan kesihatan ni you all pun tahu macam-macam perkara, tapi insya-Allah kita jadikan ia satu cabaran dan insya-Allah pada satu hari kita akan melihat reformasi berlaku dalam perkhidmatan kesihatan kita. Jadi saya minta supaya rakan-rakan kita diaspora daripada Amerika ini, US ini, kita ada website kita Jadi you all mestilah di sini mungkin sistem kesihatannya berbeza daripada apa yang kita ada di Malaysia dan silalah memberikan input-input cadangan dan sebagainya untuk kita laksanakan yang terbaik dalam sistem kesihatan negara kita. Jadi saya tak nak cakap banyak. Saya pun hari ini bersyukurlah dapat jumpa dengan ramai diaspora dan sini. Tadi saya dah minggal, saya lebih awal minggal. YB Zafrul, saya dah buat dulu. Dah jumpa student-student dan insya-Allah kita akan jumpa lagi untuk sama-sama bermesra dan kemudian insya-Allah saya juga nak dengar daripada you all apa sahaja pandangan untuk kita memperbaiki sistem kesihatan kita. Sekian, terima kasih.
Thank you so much. So let's change a little bit of the pace here so that we can actually have a more informal discussion about something that was repeatedly mentioned, that is Malaysia Madani. So for a lot of people, what is Malaysia Madani? It's a concept. It's a core principle, like what our Prime Minister was talking about in his UN speech this morning. But Malaysia Madani is basically a aspiration that Malaysia would eventually be developed into a developed society, drawing inspiration from the city of Medina. And so we hope that we can actually have a more strong trust between the government and the people through good governance, transparency, and inclusive policies. And so as the architect behind Malaysia Madani, I would implore that we all take our time and listen to what our Prime Minister has to say about what are the vision that he has for the Malaysia Madani framework, what are the different challenges that we might have in implementing it, and how we as diasporas or even students here can actually contribute in making an effort in making Malaysia Madani a reality. So, Dr. Sri, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Alhamdulillah. Nahmadu wa nusalli ala rasulil karim. Rakan-rakan menteri, saudara Duta Besar, saudara Nazri, sahabat lama, ramai tetamu yang bersama di sini, ada Gubernur Bank Negara, ada KSU, Kementerian Luar Negeri, pengurusi Suruhanjaya Security, ramai. Jadi saya harap dapat dimanfaatkan dalam perbincangan di meja-meja berkenaan. Bagi pihak rakan-rakan menteri dan perwakilan yang hadir, saya ucap terima kasih kepada Jatuh Kuasa Diaspora yang menganjurkan majlis yang permai dan mengajak anak-anak muda, mahasiswa, mahasiswi untuk bersama dengan kita. Di setiap program yang kita adakan di luar negara, kita pastikan ada pertemuan untuk menjelaskan dasar negara dan masalah perkembangan mutakhir di negara. So may I express my profound gratitude and thanks to the organizers, the embassy, under my friend Nazri, and the various organizations for the splendid arrangements and inviting us all, including our students. Now, we are fortunate that the reception in New York has been very positive, partly to the effort of all our government agencies, embassy, and the mission. So let me begin by expressing my appreciation and thanks to the embassy, the mission, and all the friends who has helped make this visit a great success. This is essential. You see, throughout history, and in all societies, you would appreciate one pertinent point, that civilizations can rise, civilizations can fall. The noted Muslim sociologist Abdul Rahman Ibn Khaldun wrote in his Muqaddimah, the nomadic society becomes quite sedentary in a city-state, Medina. With the esprit de corps working together, they can rise, build a new culture, establish a modern society with certain ideals to improve the welfare of the society. This idealism has helped forge this new nation. But sometimes after generations, leaders tend to be complacent, corrupt, abuse their power, and you can see a decline in this civilization after the third, fourth generation. The noted American historian Arnold Toynbee used this thesis and talked about a cyclical theory of civilization. Civilizations can rise, civilization can fall. It will rise because of the ideals, the policies that can generate growth, equity, justice. A society based on principles and values. Let us take the case of the United States of America. One is familiar with Alexis de Tocqueville, a noted French philosopher who visited America in the early period. He wrote a wonderful, should I say, a compelling case to defend the fabric of the original fabric of the American society. His book entitled Democracy in America. Now, Alexis de Tocqueville's thesis essentially say that the origins of the new American state is based on strong core values of freedom, of justice, of independence. And it stems from a clear conviction that is stemming from the habits of the heart. It's important. The habits of the heart. The habits of the heart of the society. They cherish freedom. That give meaning to the state through good values. Meaning of justice. That's why in the early period, you find this society wanting independence from the colonial British and emerge as a cohesive force. Why? Through the habits of the heart. They want freedom. They cherish justice. They want the state to survive as a new nation, a successful nation. But according to Arnold Toynbee, not necessarily about the United States, but societies in general and nations in general can rise, because of these ideals, but may fall because of poor governance, corruption, abuse of power, and lackadaisical attitude, particularly among leaders. So you must remember that Malaysia is not necessarily a state, a nation that will continue to survive and excel if we do not take note of the observation by people like Ibn Khaldun or Arnold Toynbee in the United States, the historian. Now, we have come to a stage in Malaysia. If you in New York, you in the States, who have been here for 40 years, 20 years, 10 years, will realize there was a period that people accord respect and confidence to this new emerging country named Malaysia. Then there was a period that Malaysia was known to be a corrupt nation, a nation with leaders who squandered wealth. That's the perception. Maybe right, maybe partly right, maybe true, may not be true, but the perception was pervasive among fund managers, investors, potential investors in this country. Notwithstanding what they say, I would suggest this. We together, we Malaysians, be it those living in Malaysia or here, the diaspora, must realize, must seize this opportunity. Let us begin anew. Let us prove that Malaysia can succeed. And my dream, and so is my team, is to prove a point that we, Malaysians, Malays, Chinese, Indians, Sabahan, Sarawakians, regardless, have that determination that we will emerge as a strong nation in the region. But we must start with this clear position. Enough of racism, enough of corruption, enough of religious bigotry. We want more unity, more work, and clarity of purpose. So I would say, Alhamdulillah, we are stable. This government, the unity government, inshallah, will continue for the next 4.5 years, steady, resolute, clarity of policies. And thanks to my colleagues, after the initial, should I say, not necessarily turbulence, initial tensions, now, September, in the spirit of Independence, National Day, The people have the right to express themselves freely, not to destroy, not to abuse, not to insult other people's religions, not to burn their sacred books. That's not what freedom is all about. So, we have crafted a series of policies. The Madani economy, the energy transition plan, and the industrial master plan, where they say, well, another plan. No, no. Energy transition plan is a new plan with a base and hub in Malaysia with renewable energy, with a commitment to green technology, which is unique. The industrial master plan is not a rehash of the old plan. It's a departure from the old plan. It focuses on the specific missions and new thrust. And last week, we approved the midterm review of the 12th Malaysia plan. It's not just an ordinary review of the old plan. It's a shift of emphasis, shift of policy, a shift of direction, taking into account of the new government's policy of good governance, democratic accountability, and wanting to move Malaysia as a vibrant economy, successful nation, economically, socially, educationally. Next month, I will introduce the second Madani budget. Malaysia, my dear friends, is a trading nation. If we succeed in promoting investments and ensuring there's more trade, then we succeed as a nation. This is where you have a role. We want every single Malaysian in the United States be treated and consider themselves ambassadors of Malaysia in the United States. You represent the new Malaysian spirit. You represent a Malaysian committed to our ideals. You represent a Malaysia that wants the country to succeed. And you should do whatever is necessary to encourage your colleagues, Malaysians and Americans, to understand, know Malaysia, appreciate what we want to do, and increase trade and investments into Malaysia. That is your mission. Why I'm here tonight is to appeal to you. Of course, the chief ambassador is here, but the rest are all our ambassadors of goodwill, focusing on trade and investments. You know the reason? The reason is pure and simple. Malaysia has this enormous potential to rise. Malaysia has the necessary resources, qualified workforce, and a strong fundamentals in terms of the economy. And our dream, my dream and your dream, is to make sure Malaysia rise again. And I, from the bottom of my heart, other than expressing my profound thanks and appreciation, would say this, that I have full trust and confidence in Malaysians. Although some of you say, I have been here in the United States for the last 40 years. Some say 20 years. But you are truly a Malaysian who loves the country and wants the country to succeed. Jadi, kalau ada soalan-soalan yang susah, Menteri jawab. Soalan yang umum, Perdana Menteri jawab. Terima kasih.
So, hello. All right. Thank you so much for such a wonderful speech. It's very inspiring, and there's a lot of words of wisdom there. But I think for diasporas and students alike, we need to learn how to be good ambassadors. We need to be proud that we are actually Malaysians. Be proud that we are promoting the good values of Malaysia as opposed to always talk bad about our own country. Unless you change the mentality, you would not be able to actually embrace the spirit of Malaysia and Madani. So going to our Q&A sessions, I see there's a lot of excited students here raising up their hands. So, so the rule here is kindly, so there will be 2 mics, one over there and one over here. And so in the interest of time, please clearly state your name, where you're from, and make your question as concise as possible so that we can give more chance to other people to explain. So that gentleman over there.
Testing. Right. Good evening, Dato' Sri. My name is Kevin. I am originally from Klang, Selangor, and I'm a Khazanah Scholar pursuing Masters of Public Administration and Public Policy here at NYU. My question for you is, how do you think the public service in Malaysia can attract top talents so that public service can thrive, especially within the Ministry of Education, so that our education system can transform to excel and soar to great heights? Thank you.
Well, thank you. How do you attract the top talents to the public service? What we have embarked upon now is committee headed by the Chief Secretary to recommend some measures to reform in the public service. And the Ministry of Education, for example, have announced that we will recognize those with postgraduate degrees. Because thus far, if you have masters or PhD, you teach in the secondary school, you are treated like any other graduate. So you don't actually attract talents. And secondly, the promotion process has always been bureaucratic and traditional. We do not actually identify the best to be given, to be entrusted with responsibility. Inshallah, we will try to make these adjustments. I'll be waiting for the recommendations by the team assigned to do this. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Dato' Sri.
All right. So to follow up on that, Malaysia, one of the goalposts under this new national policy framework is that Malaysia strives to actually hit the top 25 in Human Development Index. So that's I'm looking forward to see more and more improvements and more new policies being implemented to achieve that. So that gentleman right over there, you may have.
Good evening, Dr. Sri Anwar. Good to see you again. The last time I saw you in person was 9 years ago at, when a group of us met you at a small cafe in Chinatown. You might recall that. And you were talking about your plans for Malaysia and what you would do if you were Prime Minister. So 9 years later, here you are, resolutely forging ahead with your plans. So kudos to you, dude. So my question to you is relating to the arts. Right now, the arts and culture is embedded within the tourism ministry. So I was wondering if, given the fact that Malaysian artists are coming to their own in all ways, I guess the highlight for the year was Michelle Yeoh winning the Oscar, and then we've got Malaysian films, theater, music, going all over the world, being our ambassadors in many different ways. So I was wondering if you have your government has any plans for decoupling arts and culture from the tourism ministry into a ministry of its own, and this way it will help with funding, endorsements, scholarships, and so forth.
Thank you. In the late 90s, when I wrote the Asian Renaissance, I made very clear that a country need to grow economically. The economy remain the fundamental thrust of any government to succeed. But I did make specific reference. We actually mean by Renaissance is empowerment. Empowerment, economic empowerment for sure, but also social and cultural empowerment. So I think what you have suggested is consistent with our views in terms of Renaissance and Madani. Now, whether we should focus it under the MOTEC, Ministry of Tourism and Arts, or a separate one is to me not the issue. The issue is whether arts and culture should be an element, a focus where it has to be empowered further. I mean, through other effort and mission. I did discuss this with Michelle Yeoh when she came to see me and showed the award, the Oscar. You know, we grew up looking at the Oscar, and suddenly here I was holding the Oscar. It was quite an experience. You see, Michelle is a classic example. She won the Oscar, and in the speech mentioned Ipoh and Malaysia. Can you imagine? Yes. So I think I do share, but probably you are right. We'll have to give further consideration to this issue. How do we empower the arts and culture beyond what's being done today? We will do it. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
so
you.
we have one question here from this gentleman.
Yang amat berhormat Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim, Perdana Menteri Malaysia. Thank you for inviting us tonight. I have two specific questions. As you mentioned, we all been New York or United States for many, many years. And some of us been reached the retirement age, which means that we have knowledge, we have skill, we have money. So I want to ask, what measure is Malaysia taking? What specific initiative or program to engage which to leverage the skill and the experience of Malaysian diaspora for the benefit of the country, Malaysia? Yes. And I forgot to mention I'm from Johor, Kluang, Malaysia. That's my first question. My second question is, Dr. Sri, can you share insight in the progress and the challenges of the political reforms in Malaysia, including efforts to enhance democratic governance and the rule of laws? Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, the Minister Saifuddin mentioned the effort to facilitate approvals for the status of those who encounter problems in terms of the permits or residence back into Malaysia, which can be done. But I think your question refers to engaging through some of our other agencies. MITI is one, or higher education, or even Ministry of Economy, to try and engage to make sure those who can contribute, encouraged to be back home, and to place them in the specific areas of competence that they can further contribute. I'm sure this can be done. It's ongoing, but certainly it's new, and we should, as you know, we are now encountering a problem. In the last many years, a brain drain. The top scholars, the top economists, the top accountants are leaving or left. So now we have to make sure that we have a system that could encourage them to come back with the right incentive. Now, the second question, the challenge of political reform, yes. You know, don't ever assume that reform is easy. The elite or the civil society sometimes talk about, yes, why don't you do this, why don't you do that? But they do not consider the fact that the coterie of cliques used to corruption, used to the old way of doing business, would do whatever it takes to stifle our efforts. So that is one problem. But now that we have political stability and majority in parliament, I think we can embark forcibly. People talk about rule of law, which means the Attorney General must be professional and competent and independent. You talk about rule of law, judicial independence. Now, I've been 9 months as Prime Minister. I have not interfered in one case, either appointment or decisions of the CJ. You see, but then people are sometimes cynical. They want a judgment, a decision to prosecute or not to prosecute, to convict or not to convict, according to political whims and fancies. I cannot do that. If I say the Attorney General has the absolute discretion to charge, withdraw, or not to charge, it is his decision. Similarly, in terms of judgment, but the courts, appointment and judgments. You can check with the Chief Justice, Tun Maimun. I've been 9 months. Yes, we had discussions how to set up an academy for judges, how to ensure that training of judges is further enhanced, but never, I had never used my authority to influence the judgment. But the problem is, once the judgment does not satisfy a political group, immediately we've been severely criticized and condemned. So I think we will have to deal with this, and I'm confident, given some time, people will learn and appreciate the need for political reform. Thank you.
All right, so that student right over there.
Assalamualaikum, Datuk Sri. My name is Putri Hana, and I'm currently a second year student at the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. I'm also currently a JPA scholar under Program Penaja Nasional, and under PPN, we are restricted to apply and attend only the top 10 universities in the United States, including the Ivy Leagues. This puts us under the competitive admission process that admits only 1 to 3 Malaysians every year and gives rise to a very small Malaysian community in the university. So echoing your speech earlier that included our goal to make Malaysia known to Americans for future investment opportunities, I'm asking if we could get more support and incentive for us to integrate more seamlessly into the community by giving us the option to extend our current 2-year on-campus accommodation arrangement to the full 4-year degree period. Thank you.
Thank you. Quite a specific question. I will have to relate this back to the agencies. As a policy, as a personal view, I don't find it too cumbersome, too difficult. There was a suggestion that young graduates be allowed to work in whatever company or society in Malaysia or overseas to get the initial exposure and experience. And I think we should seriously consider this. I'll go back on your suggestion. Apa nama tadi?
To like allow, Putri Hana.
Putri Hana, yeah. So Putri Hana has given the suggestion that the Prime Minister is compelled to present to the Cabinet this week. I'll do that.
Thank you. Thank you, Datuk Sri.
All right, Devan.
Yes. Good evening. My name is Devan Gandhi. I'm an immigration attorney here in New York City, and I just opened my immigration law firm 2 days ago. So I get to proudly say that I got to celebrate with the Prime Minister of Malaysia. Prime Minister, I wrote my question down. Given the ongoing brain drain issue in Malaysia, my question is about the possibility of allowing dual citizenship to encourage overseas Malaysian professionals such as myself and many others to contribute to our country's development without having to choose between our homeland and our adopted countries. This would align with the goals of the Malaysian Plan and Madani, harnessing the skills and experiences of the Malaysian diaspora to foster innovation and economic growth. Prime Minister, could you share your thoughts and the feasibility and potential timeline of revisiting the current stance on dual citizenship in Malaysia? Thank you.
Thank you. It's a major policy decision. The majority of countries in the world do not accept dual citizenship. I will discuss this further. What are the implications, positive, negative? So we need to be given some time. You know, this issue has been deliberated for a long time, but the new government, the unity government, have not actually discussed this. As it stands, we do not accept this, but since you have given the suggestion, I'll ask probably the Foreign Minister, Minister of Internal Affairs to look at it, and we will discuss this further. Don't be too excited, because I'm personally, it's not going to be an easy resolution. But my dear friend, dual citizenship has actually very little to do with Madani. All right, next.
All right, so in the interest of time, I would be only taking 2 questions from here and 2 from here. So 1 question there.
Testing. Assalamualaikum dan salam Malaysia Madani, Datuk Sri and all. My name is Sofia Arisha, a 3rd year undergraduate student at the University of Pennsylvania.
And my name is Saiful Azhar, a 2nd year student at Princeton University.
So our question is, what are the strategies that Kerajaan Madani is implementing in incentivizing our young Malaysian talents to come back to the country and serve the country? I think this is a very important question and concern to raise for 2 reasons.
The first one being is that the fresh grad wages in Malaysia compared to other countries are significantly different, especially when we see a lot of Malaysians going to Singapore or going to the UK. And secondly is that there is an opportunity imbalance in certain industries where we see the tech and software industry particularly having a mismatch of skills where Malaysian students are learning things here that are not appreciated back at home. So that is our question for you. Thank you.
Thank you. One is Pennsylvania, the other is Princeton. Who gave you the idea to ask difficult questions to the Prime Minister? Anyway, okay, thank you, I'm joking. Now, yeah, I'm very proud. We have smart young students. It's a hope for the country. Thank you. Now, wages has been studied. You know, my personal view, as I've expressed even as opposition leader, you look at the productivity chart and wage increase, there is this gap. You see, even companies that have registered good profits do not actually compensate and accord a proper wage increase to the workers. It's an example, which means this need to be reviewed. The Wage Council and the government has to strongly encourage companies that have registered huge profits to share with the workers. And that's one. Number 2, we have set up this, for the government, public servants, a committee to review the salary structure, but of course it's tied to the availability of funds. But what you are suggesting is, of course, a huge reconsideration, because I accept the wage even of the public servants is relatively low. Now, we have given specific recommendation on progressive wage policy. which means is if there is possibility for government to allocate some funds to give the initial support to the companies to increase salary of their workers, that may help. But my dear, you have to also to look at the macro picture. What have I inherited? 1.5 trillion debt. Okay. 1.5 trillion ringgit of debt. Number two, 5.6% deficit. Which means, if I'm a responsible leader, I have to gradually reduce the debt. And if we are responsible in terms of a prudent economic policy, then we will have to reduce the deficit. This year, from 5.6 last year, we have to reduce to 5.3 this year. We're hoping to reach 5 in 2024. So, taking this into consideration, the decision to increase salary of our public servants or workers will have to be more gradual. Right? Terima kasih.
All right, thank you, Dr. Sri. So in the context of like job creations with like more affordable wages or more progressive wages, you can actually look at Dr. Sri's speech on Madani economy framework. And so like, you know, it gives you more perspective about what are the challenges and what are the efforts that the government is actually doing in creating job opportunities. So one question over there for the diasporas.
Testing. Hi. Hi, I'm Carissa and I'm a student at Yale University. My question is slightly more personal. Over the summer, I read your daughter's book, My Dear Papa, and it gave a very intimate look at your relationship with your daughter as a father. And given that past Malaysian prime ministers have been remembered with the honorific of Bapa Kebangsaan, Bapa Perpaduan, how do you view yourself as a patriarch of the nation, and how do you want to be remembered?
Thank you. You know, in stated policy that I've announced, for example, now temporarily I'm taking care of Kuala Lumpur. You know what have I said? I'm not into new towers, new mega projects. We have to deal with the issue of public housing. We have to deal with a Kuala Lumpur that's clean. And whilst we have 5-star restaurants all over Kuala Lumpur, the majority of our people still use the warungs and the gerais and the restaurant kecil. And I say, there's no excuse for Kuala Lumpur not to beautify and ensure that the majority of our people use and benefit from clean toilets, clean warungs and small restaurants. Okay? So that has been my focus for Kuala Lumpur. What is my focus on education? We talk about access or democratization of access to quality education. But some of you have gone to schools and you realize, almost without exception, schools have rotten toilets or toilets not functioning. What have we decided? Before the end of the year, before end of next month, every single toilet in every school, kebangsaan atau sekolah Cina atau sekolah Tamil atau yang di pedalaman Sabah dan Sarawak must be repaired, must be in a condition that is proper to be used by our students. So that is our purpose. Yeah. How much have we to spend? 1 billion ringgit. How much have we spent to repair and beautify the stalls and small restaurants for the public? For now, it's already 180 million ringgit. Because we have neglected this field. So, how do I want to be remembered? Remembered as Anwar, after going through these past tribulations in and out of prison. If at all they remember this man is trying to do his best for his people that he loved. That's all.
Thank you so much. So definitely, we introduce small change, but the outcomes are actually relatively big for those who actually benefited from it. So last question over there for the night.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Haliza Abdullah. I've been in the United States for more than 35 years. I came here when I was teenagers. I've been working in so many places. Right now, I am procurement manager for pharmaceuticals company. I have two questions. I've been in United States. I love United States. Of course, I love Malaysia, but I love United States. But I cannot have dual citizenship. I now permanent resident, so I cannot vote in United States. My question is there any leverage to hold dual citizenship in the future? So second, if you have time, you are invited to come to my house. My house is like half hour away in New Jersey. You and your wife are more than welcome to come to my house. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Firstly, the issue of dual citizenship, I've said that we'll have, for a policy now is not to accept that, but we will consider, we'll discuss this. I've said that the Ministry of Home Affairs and Ministry of Foreign Affairs will take up a paper and we'll discuss the implications. For now, we are not in favor, but since there has been some requests, proposals here, we will at least look at it and see whether we need to adjust or not. Secondly, on your invitation, what you would like to prepare, you have to tell me what to eat. But no, thank you very much. You've been very kind. If I do have time, I'm sure we'll love to visit. But as you know, it is an official visit and it's from morning to night, and we have our responsibility to the nation. But anyway, thank you very much. I do appreciate. I'm deeply touched. I'm sure Aziza too. Thank you very much.
All right, so that ends our interactive session with the Prime Minister. But for more information or any suggestions about Malaysia Madani, you can visit malaysiamadani.gov.my. There's a lot of actually initiatives that's being listed there. There's also a lot of suggestions that you can actually give to the government when it comes to doing that. So on behalf of the diasporas as well as student population residing in the US, I really like to thank again, our Prime Minister for allocating such precious time to actually go through some of his aspirations, some of his suggestions, and answer and interact with a lot of the difficult and sometimes interesting questions.